Deep within the echoing halls of the eternal city, a shadow began to stretch, whispering of an end no one dared to imagine. In 476 AD, the final illusion shattered. The last Western emperor fell, and the great imperial light was snuffed out. Everything changed. Out of the smoking ashes, grand roads vanished, cities crumbled, and a brutal, haunted new world clawed its way into existence. The dawn of the Middle Ages. And the story is only just beginning.
The collapse of an empire is rarely a sudden thunderclap. More often, it is a slow, agonizing erosion from within, compounded by the relentless storm battering at the gates. For generations, Rome stood as the undisputed spine of civilization, a titan of stone, law, and order. But power breeds decay, and as corruption hollowed out its core, the periphery gave way. From the dark forests and untamed steppes, waves of restless migrations and relentless invasions crashed against the borders. Great cities, once shining beacons of art and commerce, fell silent under the weight of ash and pillage, while political chaos. From the ashes of a fractured continent, a new vision of unity began to take shape, proving that out of ruin can rise a profound renaissance. Charlemagne did not merely conquer, he built. Through relentless ambition and a profound belief in order, he bound a shattered Europe together, forging an empire from the chaos of the early Middle Ages. He breathed life back into education, reformed the church, and established a standard of law and from the ashes of a fractured continent, a new vision of unity began to take shape, proving that out of ruin can rise a profound renaissance. Step past the heavy wooden gates of the medieval world, where stone and steel shape the rhythm of survival. High upon jagged cliffs, formidable stone castles rose as towering symbols of power. Out on the fields, the energy surges. Clad in clanking iron, knights clash in thunderous charges, a relentless test of steel and honor.
The summons echoed across a divided continent, drawing kings, peasants, and zealots into the grip of an unprecedented fervor. At the heart of it all stood Jerusalem, a sacred jewel desired by empires, waiting across a perilous sea. The call to arms was absolute, sweeping through towns and cathedrals under the banner of a holy mandate. A crusade. It was preached as a spiritual salvation, a sacred duty etched into blood and iron. Yet beneath the grand rhetoric of holy war, the human cost was staggering. Thousands marched toward the sun-baked horizons, driven by intense devotion, only to face the brutal reality of siege, disease, and slaughter upon them. The ships slipped quietly into European ports, carrying cargo that no one could see and an enemy no one could fight. It began in the silence of the night, with a fever that consumed the body within hours, followed by swellings that marked a swift and certain end. Within a few short years, the Black Death swept across towns and countryside alike, claiming nearly half the population of the continent. Fields lay unharvested, entire villages vanished into quiet emptiness. In the span of a single generation, the world as they knew it had simply ceased. The fields of France trembled under the thunder of war, where armor clashed in brutal, desperate skirmishes, and the cries of armies echoed endlessly. Out of this chaos stepped an improbable force. A young peasant girl named Joan of Arc, driven by an unshakable conviction, raised her standard with absolute determination, breathing courage into a demoralized nation and turning the tide against impossible odds. Yet, in a world ruled by fear, such a light could not be tolerated. Following a rigged trial, the end arrived. She was burned at the stake. Yet her sacrifice became the very fire
that saved France, sealing her legacy as an eternal symbol of defiance. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the long shadows of the medieval night began to retreat. Across the continent, a profound awakening stirred. The heavy silence of isolation broke as trade routes hummed with new life. Ideas crossed borders like sunlight, and forgotten texts were unsealed from monastery vaults. A vibrant, restless curiosity took hold of the human mind, demanding to look closer at the world, to question, to discover, and to create. Stone by stone, the old walls gave way. Master craftsmen traded rigid dogma for the breathtaking perspective of art and science, painting a brilliant new dawn across the canvas of Europe. The Middle Ages had forged its survival in iron and faith. But now, humanity stepped boldly into the light of the Renaissance, a triumphant rebirth and the beginning of the modern world. As the fires of the Renaissance warmed a changing world, the echoes of the medieval era did not fade away. They remained, woven into the stone of our oldest cathedrals, the boundaries of our nations, and the resilient spirit of humanity itself. From the ashes of empires and the trials of a turbulent age, Europe had found its enduring strength. It was an era built in shadow and steel, yet it gifted us the very